San Francisco is probably not going to come back from the situation. Now, you already have people calling San Francisco the new Detroit, Detroit 2.0, when there's so much neglection, when there's so many businesses outflowing from the city that the whole entire city just pretty much goes bankrupt. Now, Detroit used to be a very great place to live. They have a great suburban area. The city center was actually pretty decent. And that was during the height of the automotive period. And when a lot of the automotive industries left Detroit, guess what happened? The whole entire city went bankrupt, no money, and you got the rise of $1 houses, and commercial offices, skyscrapers were selling for pennies on the dollar. This is exactly what's happening in San Francisco as I'm speaking, with several properties in San Francisco, for example, actually selling for very, very cheap prices. Guys, if you go to San Francisco right now, you could actually get a third off on several residential properties. If you go to San Francisco and you're willing to buy commercial real estate, some are going for 55 to 75% off. And this really does scream Detroit vibes because that's kind of like what's starting right now, because you have the rise of cheap real estate, and then you have the rise of even cheaper real estate. And then you start having the big defaults of malls, hotel skyscrapers that really show of nearly non-existent of tourism, and everyone is simply leaving. The population decline of the city is insane, with a lot of people refusing to buy real estate here and going for somewhere else. Guys, this building right here, 2 bed, 2 bath, 800 square feet in a decent townhouse, this was easily close to $1 million during the pandemic. This was easily $1 million, but now it's $558,000. I mean, look at this. This is actually in a very, very good area. I think this is somewhere in the Mission. This is very close to the sea. 4 bed, 4 bath, multi-family home for only $1.9 million. Something during the peak was nearly $3 million. And don't even get me started to some of these mansions. They're virtually worthless. Don't be intimidated by the $36 million listing price. This is probably half the amount and nobody even buy this. So you get the idea. Nobody wants San Francisco real estate. And also, San Francisco last month, or I guess 2 months ago, has announced a step up emergency efforts to bring the Tenderloin district from brink. Now, this is a Tenderloin district. This is basically the open air drug markets. And it's a shame because this is by far one of the best locations of anywhere in downtown. This place is actually very close to a lot of the financial district. It's close to Chinatown up here. It's close to Fisherman Wharf up here. It's also close to the Uber HQ over here. So it's like a location where if it's fully clean, will actually command one of the highest real estate prices in America. But because it's like an open air drug market with thousands of homeless people and apparently it's extremely dangerous, this is by far one of the cheapest places in San Francisco, despite its fantastic location. And guess what? It's not really doing anything, okay? And a few months later, there's still a bunch of drugs, a bunch of defecation, a lot of chaos, and people are done. People who invested in real estate in San Francisco are furious right now. They invested this much money, and now they have lost capital. In fact, San Francisco right now is probably the top city for the biggest loss of wealth in the real estate market. There's no developers coming in. There's no real estate investors going in. And don't even expect foreign real estate guys coming in. A lot of Chinese buyers actually poked their heads into San Francisco, saw how dirty it was, and then eventually they left and they bought other real estate pieces in Thailand, Australia, and the UAE. I mean, foreign demand for San Francisco housing and real estate is at an all-time low. I mean, I actually asked some Chinese investors, especially, a lot of guys from China who want to buy property in the Bay Area. The most they'll buy is probably the ones next to Stanford because that's where all the students are, and that's actually a pretty nice place still. I was like, what about San Francisco? And they're like, hell no. They're like, it's very scary to drive past the city. That's what they told me. And that says a lot. I mean, that's very, very bad. And if you look at the international tourism in the area, it's also very, very low. You have a lot of foreign vloggers going to the city, vlogging all of the craziness of the city, and I guarantee you not a single one of them will actually come visit. I mean, look at this. Okay, this is still going on, and these are all people's townhouses, people's condos, businesses, and it's very sad. Okay, and residents are witnessing this every single day. I mean, you can't even park your car here. You have residents calling 311 to make complaints. Nobody cares. Not a single person cares. You could call 100 times and they don't care. I'm pretty sure they get hundreds of calls every single day. And the cops can't do anything, and the city won't do anything, and I'm really not really sure why. I mean, this is what's affecting the economy of San Francisco. And I get it. The mayor wants to play both sides, but you can't. You're going to have to choose one side or the other. And you need very tough and big changes for business to come back. I mean, making advertisements about how great San Francisco is and spending millions of dollars on ad campaigns is not going to bring the businesses back. Businesses are very smart. Before they move to an area, they definitely look at the area and see if it's livable. And this is not livable, guys. This is bad. And I feel like if San Francisco continues to be stubborn and not doing any changes, all the businesses will be leaving. Guys, hotels are leaving. Okay. You have 3,000 room hotels going bankrupt. That just shows you how bad the tourism industry is getting. And let's just see what happens. San Francisco has promised to make affordable housing for the homeless, but it never has been done. Okay, there's so much land in the Bay Area. I mean, you can't even find one plot of land to build affordable housing. Like, this is crazy. And at this point, people are just kind of sick of it. People have said the Tenderloin district has been this way for 2 to 3 decades. And for the first time in decades, people are finally not putting up with it. We're actually seeing a massive exodus of businesses out. And guess what happens when businesses leave? I have no clue why would you ever do this, but the mayor is proposing tearing down Westview Mall, by far the best and biggest mall in downtown San Francisco, and also tear down other downtown realtors that have closed. Now, this is a pretty terrible idea due to the fact that these things will be very hard to replace if you tear it down for other things. You want to have one of these big malls, just in case the city does well and cleans everything up. Retailers will come back. I mean, you don't really want to shut down these downtown retailers either. I mean, this is really bad. And like I said before, this is pretty much just putting Band-Aids on the big wound. And seriously, if they just clean up the homelessness of crime and also be a little bit tough on things, I guarantee you within half a year, a ton of businesses will come crawling back. A lot of businesses that left San Francisco said they didn't really want to. They really liked the area. And a lot of engineers and all the upperclassmen, they all said they liked the city. I haven't seen a single person that hated the city. But they just left because of the homelessness, the crime, all that kind of stuff. The location of the city is great. The weather is great. Okay, and people were actually willing to pay crazy high taxes to live in the city. And even I myself am a fan of the city. But with all this craziness going on, it's not happening. And look at this. Abandoned stores are everywhere. Streets are taken over by the homeless. Drugs everywhere. Death is so rampant that candy is locked away. San Francisco's ghost town is here, guys. Tourism is down 16% from pre-pandemic levels. And I don't really think 16%. I think it's more like 30, 35%. Because if you go to like the very touristy spots like Fisherman's Wharf, you have a lot of empty, vacant stores. And that's terrible. Some 7,000 homeless have descended in downtown areas and tourist traps. And when the tourist areas are ran by homeless people, nobody really wants to go there for vacation, okay? And there's tents everywhere. And I don't know what San Francisco is using all the money for. I mean, they do have enough money to really take care of the homeless population, build affordable housing, maybe get some land and build something, but they never do it. They never do it. I remember this really funny story back, I think it was a year ago. They were trying to make like public restrooms, and they spent $1.7 million for a public restroom, but it was like only one toilet. Like one toilet, $1.7 million. And we really look at the fees, like the admin fees are huge. So people are really just pretty much sick of it. I don't really think they'll ever do anything new. And everyone's gone. Everyone's sick of it. If you're going to be opening a business in the Bay Area, double check yourself. But might as well open one in Texas and Florida or the Midwest. That's where the hottest areas are. And San Francisco, at this point, if big hotels are going bankrupt and the city's not doing anything, I don't think they'll ever change. And that's what's happening. It's very sad because this is one of my favorite cities in the U.S.